Efwa didn't pick a wedding look that might work. She chose an inspiration that looked like her, and that changed everything. There was no guesswork. She knew what she wanted. All the inspo she sent were on melanin skin, and that gave her a preview of how her wedding makeup was going to look like, and I brought her vision to life. The inspo she sent were on a matte eye with a matte lip, but then I recommended that we pair it with a glossy lip, and then she accepted. If you've seen her traditional wedding look, then you would know that we did a very bold, glittery eye. But for her white wedding look, we are going subtle. We are going to have a look that will be timeless. It will be classic, so that few years to come, when she takes a look at her white wedding photos, she will still love them. And then that was the whole point of having a subtle white wedding look for Efwa. I did her skin prep for oily skin just like I did for a traditional wedding. Even though we are doing a subtle makeup look, we are still going to have a full coverage base work, and then I will keep the subtle face on the eyes and then on the lips. So I did match her foundation beautifully, and then at this point I'm going in to brighten her under eye. So when I did brighten her under eye, I went in to snatch her nose a little bit more, and then I used the beauty sponge to bring everything together, and it looked absolutely beautiful. I thought her face could use a little bit of contouring, so I gave her the appropriate low light that she needed for her face. Her face is beautiful. Her face is perfect. Ifwa has this face that is just giving the perfect canvas, and then I loved her for that. So when I set her entire base together, I had to remove any creases under the eyes before I started setting her under eyes. So to set her under eyes, I did go in with the MAC Mineralized Skin Finish in Dark Deep, and then the Charlotte Tilbury powder in number 3 to set her under eyes. And then to bring back that color onto her skin, I did use a dark burgundy blush and a dark pink blush on her, and then it came out beautiful on Ifwa's skin. I finished on that, and I had to powder her entire face. So for her powder shade, I went in with 2 shades of powder, one from Bobbi Brown and then 2 shades from Fenty Beauty, and then the combination brought a perfect coverage on Ifwa's melanin skin, and then it turned out so beautiful. So when I finished powdering her face, I went back in to brighten her chin a little bit more, and I thought her under eyes could use a little bit more brightness, so I used the MSF in dark to brighten her inner corners, and then I used the Charlotte Peach spray to spray down everything, melt that powder very well, and then I started on baking her face. So to bake her face, I avoid using any yellow tone powder, so I went in with this chestnut powder that has more of warm tone to bake her under eyes, went back in to blush her face, and then we were ready to do her eyes. But before then, I thought her face could use a little bit of bronzer, so I bronzed her face and then onto the eyes. So whenever I'm doing a matte eye, I like to make sure that the base of the matte eye is creaseless. So I make sure there were no creases on the base before I started on the eyes. I did use the same contour shade for her nose to start on the eyes, and then I went back in to build that shade. And while she was doing that, I let her open her eyes because she has this beautiful eye shape that I want the matte eye to really come out beautiful on her eyes. So when she opened her eyes, I thought it looked beautiful, but then the top part could use a little bit of depth. So I went in with a very small brush to create depth around that area, and then I smoked it out a little bit more. And then at this point, I was ready to put the lid color, which was like a soft brown mixed with a little bit of a soft gray shade, and it turned out perfect on Ifwa's eyes. I'm using a fluffy brush to place that matte shade on it, and then I went back in to blend it a little bit. Even at this point, it was looking so beautiful. She opened her eyes, I checked it again, and then I was done. I did reverse contour her face a little bit more, and then it was time for her to eat before I do the lips. Once she was done eating, I was ready to do her lips. So for her lips, like I said, she did request for a matte eye, but then when I recommended the glossy lips, she accepted. So I did outline her lips with a brown shade, and I went in with a lighter brown at the middle. It was looking a bit dark, so I blended it out and I topped it with a lighter shade. So once I blended it, it turned out absolutely beautiful. It was like the perfect nude shade for her skin tone, and then I added a little bit of gloss on top of her lips, and then basically that was it for Ifwa. We're coming to the end of her look. I did some finishing touches, mascara, a little bit of blush and bronzer. I dabbed her skin a little bit more, then I did her highlighter, and I used a lighter shade at the inner corner of her eyes, and then we came to the end of Ifwa's white wedding look. So this was Ifwa before I did her makeup. She is absolutely beautiful. And then this was her after. She looked like a Barbie in real life. She looked so beautiful. Her under eyes had the perfect amount of brightness. She had the right amount of color coming from her skin. The matte eye was gorgeous, and the nude lips, perfect for her skin tone. I love the fact that her skin matched from her face to her chest, her arms, and this was the reveal. She was so in awe of the makeup look. She loved it. She was like, wow, everything turned out beautiful, and I love the fact that we brought her vision to life and she looked like a real life Barbie. Thank you so much, Ifa, for having me. Guys, like, comment, share. Engage on this post. If you've not seen her traditional wedding look, it's the video before this one. You can go and see how that look was also created. And then this where the hairstylist came to do the hairline well, and I did some finishing touches for the photographers as pretend shots. And we did more videos in the room before they came to take her outside for some outside shots. So look at Efwa's skin. I love the fact that her skin was looking absolutely radiant. I used the body butter glue on her chest to give that glow, and this is how she looked in natural light. Even in natural light, her skin was still glowing. The photographer took her outside for this shot, and then I was able to take some videos as well. She looked absolutely beautiful. The back of the hair was also very nice, and that was it. We did this silhouette video, and it was also very, very nice on Ifwa. They came to pray with her in her gown, and that was it. Thank you so much, Ifwa, for having me. Thanks, guys, for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.